Most digital transformations fail. Not some, most. The numbers floating around are brutal. The large majority of transformation programs don't deliver what they promised. And here is the part that should bother you. It's almost never because the company bought the wrong software. In fact, they usually bought the perfectly good software, but they fail anyway. So if the tools work and the projects still fail, the problem was never the tools. That's what this whole channel is about. And in the first episode, I'll show you the exact trap that swallows the money.
Digital transformation time. Digital transformation time.
I'm Sergey Arisov. I've built audit-grade digital environments for deep tech that has to pass certification. Green aviation, nuclear, automotive, and electronics. I've done this with small teams under real regulatory pressure where a wrong architectural decision costs you a year. This channel for two people. If you're a founder or a CEO, you learn which decisions actually decide whether transformation works. So you stop burning budget on the wrong things. If you're a tech lead, you learn what to build underneath. I've written about this in the European Business Review and Hackathon. This channel is where I turn these ideas into something you can build, step by step. Here is the trap, and it's seductive because it feels responsible. You have a problem, chaos in your engineering data, no traceability, and slow handoffs. So you do the serious thing. You run a selection process, compare your vendors, and buy a capable platform, PLM, ERP, MES, and ALM suites, something respectable. You implement it, and for a while, it feels like you progress, because something is happening. Then, 12 months later, you look up, and it's still a chaos. It just has a more expensive login screen. The tool didn't fail. The assumption did. The assumption that a tool can install an operating model you never designed. Why do smart, experienced people fall for this? 3 reasons. First, a tool is buyable. An operating model isn't on the price list. It's work, and it's invisible work. So it loses to the thing you can put in a purchase order. Second, a tool gives you a feeling of motion. Demos, rollouts, training sessions. It looks like transformation. Third, and this is a deep one, the vendor's incentive is to sell you the tool, not to tell you that the tool is maybe only 20% of the answer. The other 80%, who owns which decision, how a change gets approved, how evidence is generated, how the stages of your product connect. None of that ships in the box. You have to design it. There is a serious idea underneath this, and it's worth knowing the name. David Tiss's work on dynamic capabilities makes a distinction most companies miss. There is a difference between the resources you own, your tools, your assets, and your capability to reconfigure them as the world changes. Transformation isn't a buying a better resources. It's building a capability to keep adapt. A tool is a resource. An operating model is a capability. That one distinction explains most of the failures I've ever seen. I'm standing on this here. What I'd add is what it looks like on the factory floor at 2 a.m. before the audit. So let's reframe what you're actually buying when you do digital transformation. You're not buying software, you're deciding how your company operates, how an idea becomes a real requirement, how a requirement becomes a design, how a design becomes something you can build twice and prove you built correctly. That chain, that's the operating model. The software is just where some of it gets recorded. Get the chain right, and the modest toolset works beautifully. Get the chain wrong, and the most expensive platform on the earth just digitizes your confusion faster. Tools don't create the operating model. At best, they enforce one you've already designed. Here is my claim for this channel. The most useful lens for designing an operating model is the product lifecycle, the path your product takes from idea to retirement. Not as software, as the operating system of your company. Over this course, I'll build it with you, stage by stage. Requirements and configuration control, traceability, the digital thread, integrations across your systems, and where AI agents now do work that used to need a whole team without losing audit readiness. Everything connects back to one question. Can you build your product twice and prove it? In the next episode, I'll define what an operating model actually is, concretely, not as a buzzword. Recap. Most transformations fail, and almost never because of the tool. The trap is believing a purchase can install an operating model you never designed. A tool is a resource. The operating model is a capability, and only one of those you can actually buy. If this reframed how you think about the money you're about to spend, subscribe, because next I'll make operating model concrete. And tell me in the comments what's the most expensive tool your company bought that didn't fix the actual problem. No judgment. I've seen it from the inside.
Digital transformation time.